Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to the Grow Tent, everybody. You have found the best growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now.
Woo! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Grow Tent. We got a great episode for you today. Today we're talking about some things you need to do to your tap water, if that's what you're using is tap water. And we're talking about some of the sneaky stuff that the water treatment plants are actually now doing to your water in replacing the chlorine that's in it, and how that gets around the kind of standardized thing that we do to our tap water to get the chlorine out. And if you don't know that you need to get the chlorine out, we're going to talk about that today also, because your plants don't like it, and there's really simple tricks to getting it out. So you might want to check it out right now. But first, as always, guys, the intro, everybody's favorite part. Guys, if you're looking for, let me scoot over. I gotta make some room. Don't pay no attention to the messy shipping table behind you. We're getting ready for a drop week, so it's getting ready to be even more messy. But right now, it's just got a snake box on it. I sold a snake on my my Spartan Pythons channel, so got to ship that out today to its new owner in, I think it's going to Staten Island or New York, somewhere in that area. All right, guys, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, watch the full video. If you don't like this intro part, you can always just fast forward. Guys, remember to join the Patreon. It's a really, really good month to join the Patreon this month and next month. Got a couple big drops happening, so if you don't want to miss out on it, you can find links to it in the video description below. Also, guys, if you're looking for any kind of new light, new tint, new whatever, Mars Hydro pretty much makes every single product you could think of that you would want in your tent. They have it. You need it. And I got a discount code for you, and it does give a kickback to the channel, so it's all much, much, much appreciated. Discount code is WTTGT. Doesn't matter if you use capital letters, lowercase letters, still works. So you might want to check that out. Lights, tints, as I said, etc. They got it all in stock. Check them out. Mars Hydro. All right, I think that's enough of the intro. I think it's time to get started with the video, and there's a few things I want to talk to you about tap water today. I know, super exciting subject, but it's actually extremely important stuff, especially if you're new and you didn't know about this. You want to check it out, and what the water companies have started doing that to where our old methods to fix it don't work anymore, and we have to do something new. So let's check that out right now. Woo! Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you guys all having a fantastic week. I know we're having one over here. It's a drop week over here, so it is extremely, extremely busy. But today I wanted to talk a few things. I had a really awesome question come in on my email. If you don't know, you can email me with your grow questions for free to thegrowtent@gmail.com. Actually, I'll just throw that up right over there. I don't get to answer all of them a day because I get probably close to 1,200 emails a day, because I'm a big dumb idiot who puts his email up on YouTube for free. But we had a really cool question come in, and it was somebody that had a problem because I guess his local water treatment plant, they switched what they were putting in his water, and is starting to affect his grow. So I kind of wanted to talk about that. So one of the things, if you're growing with tap water, which, I mean, you can do, there's a lot of people that have some really good tap water, then there's people that have really bad tap water. Like my tap water has like, it varies from time to time of year, but it usually has around 600 ppm in it, all the way up to 1100 ppm in it sometimes, which means I can't use it to grow unless I run it through a RO machine or a reverse osmosis water machine. If you didn't know what RO meant, that means reverse osmosis. It's just a filtration process. My RO machine runs my tap water through 6 filters on my machine before I get to it, and instead of being, let's just say, 600 ppm whenever it comes out, whenever I check my water after it's gone through my RO machine, it has about 30 ppm in it, which means I get to choose what my plants get, not all the crap they're putting in it from the facility. So generally, if you're going to use tap water, I don't know if you know this or not. If you're new, you probably don't. If you are not new, then you probably do know about it. But when you're going to use tap water that hasn't been run through a filtration system, one of the things that your water treatment place will put in the water to clean it and to keep it clean is chlorine. Yeah, just like you put in a pool. Well, our plants don't like chlorine. So one of the ways that you can get rid of this chlorine that is in your water, if let's say I'm going to water on Monday, I will get my water ready. I'll just dump it out into my 5-gallon buckets from my tap if I was going to use tap water. And I will just let it sit out for a day or 2 days. It kind of depends on how much chlorine they put in your water, but you can actually get test strips from any pool supply place, Amazon, your local grocery store will have them, to test your water for chlorine. And you will, by doing that, you can determine how long your water needs to sit out before you can evaporate the water off, because at just room temperature, chlorine is more unstable than the water, and it will naturally off-gas itself by just letting it sit out. You literally don't have to buy anything, do anything with it to get it to naturally off, and it will just off-gas all the chlorine all by itself just by letting it sit out. Now, there is things you can do to speed up this process. If you put an air stone in it and aerate it, it's going to gyrate that water, which, since chlorine is more unstable, it'll be constantly breaking the surface of the water with all the bubbles, which will actually get it to off-gas sooner. So if, let's say, your chlorine takes 48 hours, most people think, oh, it's just a day and my chlorine's gone. That's not necessarily true. Sometimes I've seen it take up to 4 to 5 days before the chlorine is out, and you wouldn't know that unless you actually took the test strips and checked it to see your levels of chlorine, how much they're dropping day by day until you get to where the chlorine is gone. A lot of people will just leave it sit out for 24 hours, and that's all they do, and then they feed it to their plants, and they're like, man, I can't ever figure out why I can't get the kind of yields or the plants to act the way I want. Well, it's because you're poisoning them with chlorine. Another thing is, if you heat the water up, if you boil the water, you can get rid of all the chlorine in about 15 minutes. Now, I don't know about you, but I ain't trying to boil 10 gallons of water on the stove. It would take freaking forever. So if you use the air stone, you can cut the time down by almost 80% just by bubbling the water, because the chlorine will off-gas so much faster just throwing an air stone in it. Or you could literally just take a line with like an old fish tank water pump. If you don't want to use the air stone, you don't want to go buy anything, you can just like an old fish tank bubbler pump. That will work just fine. It won't work as fast, but it will work. Or you don't have to buy anything, because you know me, I don't like telling you guys that you have to go buy equipment to get this done. But it will take you more time by just letting it sit out, but you don't have to purchase anything to accomplish this. Now, there is a trick that which brings us back to our original question. There is a problem that one of my growers was having, being that he was doing the thing where he used to have to let his water sit out for 2 days. And after 2 days, the chlorine would be gone, and then he could go about his business. Well, what he was noticing is he was seeing a problem with his plants, and then he started to check, and his chlorine was actually not dissipating anymore after 2 days. So he let it sit out 3 days, then he let it sit out 4 days, then he let it sit out 5 days, and it didn't drop at all. Well, it turns out the plant that treats his water, they stopped using chlorine to treat it, because as we talked about, chlorine is extremely unstable. They stopped using chlorine to treat his water anymore, and they actually switched over to chloramine. Well, chloramine is extremely stable, which is why these plants switched to it. And since chloramine is stable, the old methodology of using an air stone, letting the water just sit out, it doesn't work anymore. And the only way to remove the chloramine from your water, if your water treatment plant switches over to it, is actually to run it through some kind of filtration system, some kind of dechlorinator. The old tricks, because it was so unstable, don't work anymore, because they're switching to a more stable cleaner of the water, which means it doesn't come out whenever you let it sit out 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, bubble the water. It doesn't work anymore, and you actually have to go to a process where you are dechlorinating the water, whether that's an RO machine, any kind of filtration system where you're actually running it through carbon will take it out of there. So like, RO machines are expensive. They're not cheap. They're not super expensive, but you could actually get something just like a Brita water filter that you can find at Walmart. What are those, 20, 25 bucks? those actually have a carbon filter system in them, and they will dechlorinate your water, whether your water company is still using chlorine or it is switched over to chloramine. It will reduce that out. Now, using a Brita filter, you're going to go through them relatively quickly, but it can, in the short term, be a very cheap option to get a dechlorinator into your garden and help you out a bunch in that area. All right, so that was my subject today. I got that email, and I thought it would make an interesting subject for a video, because a lot of people probably don't know about it, and if you're new, you probably didn't even know you need to take the chlorine out of your water. And so whenever I make my water up, I use an RO machine, but I would prep my water by getting my water out and then just leaving it in the 5-gallon buckets for a day or two until I was ready to use it. So what you want to avoid is, oh, my plants need water, I need to go make it up. No. You need to be more prepared than that for this. So whenever you get, I know these plants are going to need water, I make my water. I don't put anything in it. I don't put the nutrients in it that early, but I do get the water out, let it sit out. Even when I'm running it through the RO machine, I still have my water prepped and ready, because that's the kind of stuff you need to do. All right, guys, I hope everybody has a fantastic week. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out with GT. I'll see you later. Peace.